Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Insights with me, Dean Shams. In this episode, we're going to explore the alluring idea of becoming a digital nomad, traveling the world, working remotely. You must have seen their pictures on the internet. They are always seen sitting by the beach or on a mountaintop with their laptops and working away. And then the rest of us, I don't know about you, but I always like, oh, I wish I can do that. And I'm so lucky because today I have 4 guests who are living that lifestyle and not just beginning, but they've been doing that for many years. And I want to understand, what does it take to become a real digital nomad? So let me bring them one by one into the studio. So first I have Christoph Hubner. Hi. Yeah, I don't know if I pronounce your last name properly. Sorry about that. Okay. Hi, Christoph. So Christoph is from Germany and now he lives in Madeira, an island of Portugal. And then next, I have my very own Singaporean, Nicole Tan. Hey,
Hello.
Nicole. Hey. So
Hey.
Nicole, you're in Estonia now, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And last but definitely not the least, we have a couple, Ned and Rob. Hi.
Hello.
Ned and Rob from Brazil and now living in Italy. So welcome to the show, guys.
Hello.
Thank you so
Okay.
much for having us.
Hello.
My pleasure. All right. So just to get a rough idea, I want to ask each one of you, how many years have you been a digital nomad and how many countries have you been to? Let's start with Nicole.
I think like 37 countries, digital nomading maybe on and off for 10 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Rob and Ned.
We're on the road
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, 6 years.
And, 55 countries.
So far, yeah.
Okay. And Christoph.
Yeah, I've been working location independently for many years, but there was one point in time about 4 years ago when I legally signed off from Germany and got rid of everything that casts a shadow, does not fit into my suitcase. Because until then, I always still had this idea of having an address, a legal address, and some place more or less called home. But that's not anymore for a bit more than 4 years, and I don't count the countries where I go to.
It's just a flow of experience for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dig in and let us, the rest of the world, the mortal beings, understand how is it like to be a digital nomad. All right. So at what stage of your life did you decide to be a digital nomad? And what motivated you to become one? So let's start off with, I think, Christoph, you have an interesting story. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that was not that one decision, as I've always been self-employed. So I started my first business when I was still 16 back in school. And when I finished school with 19, I went full-time self-employed and have never signed an employment contract for myself in my life. So there has never been this step like into an independence or like now I'm my own boss or anything. I've always been my own boss and always pretty independent of locations. I was several times for projects for a longer period somewhere, but it was never like I got cuffed to a place by anybody. So
it wasn't very big decisions for you, because it just became part of your life process, right? You just from self-employed and you just started to move from one country to another, right? Nicole, what about you? What made you become a digital nomad? Yeah.
I actually fell into it by accident. I was working like just on my laptop everywhere, and then I was like, oh, I can go anywhere I want, and then I just decided to keep continuing it. I was like, I don't have to sit in the office. Yeah.
And Robin,
Well, we came from like very different backgrounds for what we did today. Back in Brazil, I'm a journalist, and I also used to run a family business.
I worked for shipping companies for many years, but we always have this love for traveling.
Yes.
And back in 2013, we had a click saying like we cannot stay still.
Yeah. So we decided to sell everything, quit our jobs, have a new project of life. So we actually has been 6-7 years that we don't have address. We are just living from our suitcases and traveling around the world. We are kind of based in Italy now, but it's not like for good. And it was everything I think we wanted. The freedom to work from wherever we are. It's not easy, but it's amazing.
Was it like the first step? Was it especially for Rob and Ned, because it was a clear decision that you want to be on the road? Was it scary? What was the emotion that you were feeling? Were you nervous or worried? Whatever,
I think you were anxious and you were nervous because you were like stepping something new. You have the projections, you have the ideas, you have the plans, but actually
also becomes an excitement.
Yes. And I think when you give the first step, when you say like, no, I'm doing this, I'm selling my stuff or I'm quitting my job. Once you do the first step, it feels like everything starts falling into place and it flows and you go because it's, as Rob said, so much excitement for doing something that you dream about it.
Yeah.
What about Nicole? Nicole, so okay, let's face it, Singapore. We are very risk adverse. We want, being Asians, we like to stay in one place. But you broke out from that mold and started to go. Was it in the beginning? It was just a one-off trip, and then you thought that you could work. How did it happen?
Yeah, I think like I just went on short trips and I would bring my laptop with me and realize like, oh, okay, I can do this. Then I was in New Zealand for 10 months under the working holiday visa with my laptop. And I was like, okay, I can keep doing this. So I just kept like, all right, let's take our laptop, find some good Wi-Fi and some good electricity and just keep going. So it's just started out of nowhere or just realizing that, oh, I'm in a hostel in the common area with my laptop. And then you just realize you can do things. Yeah.
Okay. And I know, knowing our own Singaporean culture, how did your family react to you leading this lifestyle? Did they have a good perspective, or what did
So
how did they react?
I would say like it started off with taking some convincing. They kind of didn't understand that like what it means to be a digital nomad. Like, what do you mean you take your laptop and you work from anywhere? I think quite some of them thought I was just holidaying on the beach, drinking a beer all the time, which is not true. I have my hand on the laptop. It's like laptop, beer, like that's how you do it. So yeah, after a while they saw that okay, I can actually do this. I had to convince them that every time I have a laptop, it means that I'm still working and I'm not just on holiday. And I would say like a big changing point for me was when I got mentioned in an article in the Guardian newspaper, because it felt like the external validation got them to see that even if they don't understand what I'm doing, that I'm doing something right. I wasn't in the paper for being arrested. So that was a win.
At least not this time.
Yeah, I haven't been arrested before, so let's hope that never happens.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I'm happy that you have not been arrested ever since. All right. Okay. So how did your life change as a digital nomad? And did you have to give up a lot of things? Ever felt homesick? Share that part of that story. Christoph, do you have any? Because you seem to be like, this is how I was born to be. So.
Yeah, and it crystallizes more and more these days when my parents evolve as well. So the thing is, I think it all started very, very early in kindergarten. I was in 3 different kindergartens because of my parents were moving or other situations. So already as a very small child, I learned that I can easily make new friends anywhere. And that I would keep contact with the old friends. So changing location isn't necessarily a bad thing. And as of today, my parents are not living anymore in the region where I grew up. And also I don't have other like family there. So I don't have like this region, this place called home where I mean, when I'm in that area and then hear the people speaking with the dialect I grew up with and having this cuisine and all that stuff, I got this heartwarming feeling. But it's not like I feel like I miss this place. And looking at my parents who are now retired for a couple of years and split their life in having their garden as the big obsession during the summer season. But as soon as the gardening season is over, they jump in their huge mobile home, travel south to Spain, Portugal. In the last 2 years, we were in Northern Africa and Morocco for 3 months. And now at these days, they're still again in Portugal and are coming over here to Madeira for a couple of weeks in end of December. So I guess I have an idea where I got this gene from.
It's a family
Wow.
culture. So the Kadar, I'm sorry, I can't. How do I pronounce your last name again?
Cadore.
No, Kadore. Okay, sorry, I forgot that. This screen cannot see who I'm looking at, right? Kadore. So the Kadores, how is it like for you?
Well, for us, at least for me nowadays, it feels as Brazil, it's home. But when I go there, I don't feel at home anymore. I feel like more like a stranger there, especially because after traveling and experiencing so much, you kind of have a piece of everything in your heart. So I'm here now in Italy, but I'm longing for Asia. And then when I'm going to Brazil, I'll be missing something in Europe. So we're always, for me, home is always, I try to take it as where I am now. So I try to make the most of it. It sounds cliche, but that's actually true, because when I go back to Brazil, as much as I love my country, the food, the family, it doesn't feel home anymore. And it was a big thing because different from Christoph, we came from families that are based. They have jobs, really traditional. So for them,
it's rooted, right?
Yes, we're the first ones to say, hey, we are packing our bags and go. So it was a big change.
And how did they react? Especially you are married, so they would expect you to settle down, then have kids and all that. So how did they react?
We had
Let's
say announcement dinner. We invited my parents, saying, "Oh, we have something
it's like an
important."
intervention.
They were expecting, "Oh, babies." I said, "No. We're selling everything and traveling."
Yeah, and we need to do it slowly. So what we said to them is like, we go for 1 year, a sabbatical year. Inside us, we knew it. There was like no turning back, but we had to do like in small doses. So we are going for 1 year, and then after they see that we are being successful, happy, things are going well. So it's like, yeah, 1 more year, one more year, and then we never get.
And they don't question anymore.
No.
Okay, Nicole, what do you miss about, or what did you have to give up?
The food. The Singapore food. Okay, Christoph has been there. Rob and Nat have been there. They all know about the food.
And when you watch Nikki's Facebook timeline, you see obviously the thing she's missing is the
Nikki restaurant.
Yeah. Like I mean, the first time Nat and Rob and I met in Singapore, I took them out to food, and it was the funniest thing because they're like Rob's filming everything and Nat's already eating, and like all of us are halfway done with our meal, and Rob's still like doing his job and like filming everything, and we're like, can you hurry up and come, because if you don't come now, we're gonna eat your share, like seriously. So that's when he finally put the camera down and actually started eating with us. So that was pretty fun. Yeah, no, I miss the food, and like what Nat and Rob have said, it's a bit strange like going back to your own country, but you still feel like a stranger, kind of. For me, home is a feeling. It's not a place. It has been a feeling for a very, very long time. So wherever I feel comfortable and things like that, even if I'm just by myself, then it just feels like home for even 5 minutes. Yeah.
So you guys are the true definition of a global citizen.
Yes.
Wherever you lay your head, that's where home is, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the most memorable experience. The experience could be positive, could be negative. I just want to know. Memorable experience in all the years that you have been a digital nomad.
I will give you the bad side. Being hospitalized abroad is not fun.
Which country is that?
Yeah, especially when you don't speak the language. So I spent a few days in the hospital in Thailand, and I have to thinking in Portuguese, translate to English, and they thinking in Thai, translate to English. So that is not the fun part of being on the road.
Yeah.
And it is, you feel more fragile when you got sick, and far from home in a different language. I still remember because of the names. So every time they have to bring some medicine, we need to double check if the medicine has our name and everything. So we are taking the right thing to not get like lost in translation. Like it wasn't we were really well treated and it was okay, but it was a tough experience. You feel very fragile.
And you don't get social support, right? You mean in a foreign
Scooter
country?
accident?
Sorry, Christoph, you are lagging.
Let me guess, it was the classic Thai scooter accident?
No. Kidney stones.
Oh, I've heard of it. It's really
Twice.
painful.
In Thailand. Oh, that is not.
Funny enough, we never fell from a scooter. We never had an
Never.
accident. Thank God, never had an accident. But we went twice for kidney stones.
Oh my goodness. Ooh. Both in Thailand or one in Thailand and one somewhere else?
2 times in Thailand.
Yes.
You once in Thailand as well.
I was once hospitalized in Thailand as well. Yeah, we get sick
God.
quite a lot.
But there are worse place in the world than Thailand for that. I think they have quite a high level of medical treatments.
To be honest, the hospital was better than some 4-star hotels we have stayed.
Yeah, and
Like the healthcare in Thailand is amazing. It's amazing.
Good. Especially if you have insurance. That's another important thing that we're talking about being a digital nomad. You always need to be careful, have insurance, so to be covered in those situations. So if you have insurance, Thailand is a good place to be sick.
That's good to know. I can't say. I don't know. I've had so many experiences. I think one of the cutest ones was in Australia, when all my hostel mates really wanted to go to the beach and they wanted me to come with them. But I'm like, guys, I need to finish this job. Like, give me like 2 hours, just 2 hours, and I'll come with you. And they actually made sure that people stayed away from me. I was in a corner, and they were like, "Don't talk to her, don't disturb her, or she won't be able to come to the beach with us." So they kind of like hung, like they went to the beach like maybe about an hour before I did, but like for the hour that I was still there, like with them, they were just like, "Don't go to that corner, leave her alone." So that was very cute. They were just like, "Is the internet okay? You have your coffee, you have your internet," and it was very strong Wi-Fi in Australia, which is not very normal actually. And then they were like my little human fence. So that was very, very cute. Yeah.
Christoph, your most memorable experience?
It's not an easy question because this lifestyle is all about collecting memories every day. And so the most recent one was last Sunday evening when I was out here with a local digital nomad group that's organizing themselves here in a Slack workspace, and had put up a boat trip on a sailing yacht out of Funchal Harbor to watch dolphins in the sunset. And I met an Estonian couple on that boat, actually. Was talking to them, invited them over for dinner last night, where I cooked one of my signature recipes, which is a mushroom risotto. These are the little bits and pieces. Or what definitely always will keep in my head is a bonfire sunset at the Estonian island of Saaremaa at the beach, and then having a mirror flat sea with no wind, and then at midnight, full moon rising over that. These are amazing pictures. But definitely, I think the one that leaves the most traces for the foreseeable future probably is this year's lockdown. Being locked up actually it was a more active decision, but I spent 4.5 months in the Sultanate of Oman because I was traveling on the way back to Europe from actually where I met after I met Nikki in Singapore. I was going back to Oman, wanted to spend there like 2.5 weeks before going on to Europe. And then it turned out to become 4.5 months with the other option to go back home while I was traveling with a Ukrainian. We would have to split up into different countries, going back to cold, windy, wet Europe in early March. It was, I think that conversation didn't even last 5 minutes. That would be like, "Oh, we're staying here."
Nice.
And that was quite a good time.
Yeah, you made your risotto there. I saw that. I'm not the only chef here.
Yeah, and I was
Okay,
making cakes, and
I-
we were practicing so much of kitchen skills in that time because basically you couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
And there were really good groceries there, so the supply with fresh produce was really good, and so we were spending a lot of time on making amazing breakfasts and dinner and baking cakes. And
Yeah, we were baking cakes here too. Like we have
Yeah.
at least 2 cakes per week. I was baking during the lockdown.
See, digital nomad turned chefs.
Okay, Ned and Rob, I have a curious question here. So you were both hospitalized. Does that make you a little bit more less adventurous when it comes to food, let's say? Because a lot of time we hear about people getting food poisoning because they're not used to the food of that country. Did that make you kind of like hold back on
No,
eating?
everything that moves heats. Even the plate heats. I'm more picky because I have some food allergies since I was a kid. So I'm aware of things I can eat or not.
I'd say like we absolutely love street food. We try like all the local stuff. The only time in those 6 years traveling, eat everything, the only time I got food poisoning was from a fancy restaurant in Istanbul. So like,
What an irony, right?
Yeah. Like I can eat like from all the street food in Vietnam, in Thailand, in all the places. Never got sick.
Yeah,
But
and I think like it's things you learn that you have to deal with. Like once you decide to be on the road, you'll be sick. Like of course you don't want to be hospitalized, but you'll be sick. You get sometimes upset belly. You get a flu. You will fall. You
it's
will
all
hit
part.
something. It's
It's
part
all
of
part of the
life.
experience.
Like everything
Part of life, right?
happen. Yeah.
So you don't. So what you're saying is, as a digital nomad, we cannot be overly cautious when we do things just because we're in a foreign country, right? Because you decided to do that as a lifestyle, right?
Yeah, it's like you be careful as you are at a hometown.
At home, yeah.
And I think you need to peel a little bit of layers so you can actually feel the place you are visiting and meeting people. Because if you are too in your shell, you might miss the best part of it. So when you're, at least for me, I realized that like I had to peel myself a little bit, expose myself a little bit more, so I could get all the reward of like traveling different countries.
It's interesting. Okay, next question is a big question. So what
Can
life?
quickly add a
Sure.
thought, because you said an important sentence. You just said like something about being more cautious when traveling abroad, and that's actually a thought that changes a lot probably when you do a long-term travel lifestyle, because when you grow up somewhere, being socialized in my case in Central Europe, and you hear global news and you think like, oh, this place is dangerous, America is dangerous, Brazil is dangerous, and then there comes the thought from like being more cautious, more careful in a foreign country, and then you spend some time in Thailand and ask like Thai people like, would you want to travel to Europe? And they say, no, that's dangerous, people get shot there, and you're like, what? And so it's actually pretty much like it's always it feels like it's always dangerous on the other side, but when you merge into and blend into local communities and societies, this is your new normal. You don't need to be more cautious, more careful because you are in another place than where you came from.
Yeah, very good point there.
That's so true. That's so true, because I think we read or listen to the news, and news likes to hype up anything that is conflict, right? They always hype up the conflict stories, but we need to remember that it only happens in a small area of that whole country, right?
And also, as humans, we are always afraid of the new. The new is a challenge. The news puts us in a position that we are exposed. So it's kind of not right, but it's kind of natural of us to have this It'll be fine. It'll be dangerous or not. These thoughts will come.
Yeah.
But as Christoph said, once you are there, you are merged. You are part of it.
You blend in, right? Yeah.
Not think about it. You be just act as normally as you would act it any other place,
Yeah.
Okay, let me come back to this big question. Yes, Christoph.
Yeah, big example is traffic, for example. When you are socialized in Central Europe and you cross a street as a pedestrian, you are the base of rule and the trust you have to the others is based on that you trust if you have the green traffic light for pedestrians, you can rely on the cars to stop because they have a red light. That's how you're socialized. And then you're standing at the street in Ho Chi Minh City or in Phnom Penh, and there even isn't any traffic light. And to realize that this is also following rules, but they're just very different. They're not based on rules imposed by the government, but individuals making quick decisions. Like they see you, if you walk with a steady pace and don't make any unexpected movements, you can basically cross the street with blind eyes while the traffic is flowing around you. And these are the little things that you need to observe, adapt. And then most foreign countries, if you follow the local rules, are probably not more dangerous than the one where you grew up.
I think you made a very important point, all of you, is that every time you go to a new, I would say, community or space, you need to recalibrate all these rules that you have in your mind that's already been ingrained, right? Recalibrate and see what's working in that land, right? Okay. So, Nicole, do you have anything to add to that before I go to the deep question?
No, I think they've pretty much said it all, but yeah. And definitely always use food to connect with the locals. That usually works pretty well. Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask the deep question. So what life lessons have you learned as a digital nomad that you would not have learned if you were not a digital nomad? Who want to start first? All lessons about yourself, right? Okay, Christoph, you have a lot of lessons.
No, because it's just the next sentence to what I said in to the last question. It is this learning of local adaptation that you then let question and challenge the rules and everything that you grew up with. So with traveling the world and realizing that what is normal here, what is normal there, and actually what I grew up with, a certain set of rules, maybe that's not as normal as I had perceived it with growing up within this boundaries of this set of rules. And that just, if you're traveling the world with open eyes, makes your mind so much more open, because you realize that you basically can question and challenge everything, because the same problem might have been solved in another place in a very, very different way. Why not take this solution also into consideration for your local problem?
Yeah.
Many ways to skin a cat, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Please don't skin a cat, but yes.
Nicole?
I would say, yeah, with what Christoph said, you question what is normal, and it's something you won't learn if you're in your own country. I think it's also taught me to really not be afraid to speak out and talk to people, because if you're traveling alone, then you do need some company sometimes, and it really helps to just go out and be like, hey, how are you? And you may not always get a positive answer, but it's also how do you react when you get a negative answer. So it kind of really trains you to kind of be like, assess the situation and see how it goes. And then you take that back when you go to your own country, and maybe you go for a job interview or something, and it teaches you how to assess the person and the situation as well. And I think it taught me a lot in terms of like how to rely on myself and how much we can actually do things.
Nice. Do you think, I'm just following up based on what you said, do you think that people who are a little bit more extroverted will have it easier than if they're introverted? This is a question I'm throwing up to everyone.
I'm
What
not
do you think?
sure. I've seen introverted friends actually go out and do something. Like it makes them go like, okay, I need to start like, putting myself in a situation that's out there. So I think it depends on the person.
Yeah, and also what you are willing to do, even if you're an introvert. Like, am I want to go through it? Am I want to have this experience? So you kind of find a way to experience it. And just going back to the last question, I think putting together what Nick and Christoph said, being able to travel and being nomadic put us in contact with so many different situations. Not only set of rules and new ways of living in society, but beliefs, people, religion, everything. It makes you open your eyes so much more, and then you realize you're just a tiny person, and everything that you thought it was right in life, maybe not, maybe because it's just your point of view of seeing the world. So for me personally, that was the biggest thing I have learned, in be able to make friends in different situations and from different backgrounds and from different cultures. I think that's the best gift I got from this lifestyle.
Nice. Okay, since Ned, you're speaking now, I want to ask you specifically as a couple. So, how has it affected your relationship, and what kind of, from that experience, what advice do you have for couples who want to be a digital nomad?
Okay, you start.
Good one. No, interesting because like we live together, we work together, we travel together, so it's really intense. It's
24/7.
Yeah, 24/7, and you need
Did
to.
you try to kill each other? At any point?
No, we didn't try to kill each other. No, we
Thought
still,
about it.
yeah, maybe. But we are living a very peaceful, like no one was harmed.
Carry on, please.
No, you need to give space, and you need to respect when you have something different, like let's say, especially working together. If you have a problem in work, you need to be really straight and say like, no, my problem is not with you. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the
We
work.
are having an issue in the
with
work.
work.
You cannot take it to the personal side.
Yeah, you have to really have draw a line to not mix these kind of problems. And for me, when I'm too stressed, I just look to Natalie. I'm going for a run. Can I give my time? So I go running. I have my time, and then when I come back, we can talk, and then you sort out things.
Yeah, it's like you learn how to read each other better. It's very intense, but then it's like Rob knows already. Like he can look at me and see that I'm very angry for something. So he said, "Better not to talk to me right now, because I'm angry with something else, and I don't want to be rude with you." So these things we start like learning how to the dynamic change, But also I'm very happy because what we build together. In terms of traveling, in terms of our business. So, okay, it's challenging, it is, but also has
it's rewarding. Rewarding.
Yeah, it's very rewarding.
So, how long do you think a couple can sustain a nomadic lifestyle, especially when, I don't know about you guys, but generally couples would think about starting a family, having kids and all that, right? So what do you think? What's your perspective on that?
It's all depending on what you want.
We have friends that have kids and they keep traveling non-stop. Yeah.
But it's interesting you ask that because we were like a non-stop for almost 5 years. And then last year we decided, no, let's move to Italy and let's settle. And then we have Italy as a base for 1.5 years. But now we decided, I think we're going back to the road.
Going back to the road again.
So, like for next year, we probably won't have a base anymore, and we'll be traveling again non-stop.
Yeah, we were lucky, I think, because when we had the decision to settle a little bit was when COVID came. So we were like fortunate enough to be settled and have a good place.
Kind of like mentally ready to settle down for a while.
So it was like
okay.
It was the right moment. But now we need to go back to the road. I think we are missing it. So I would say that there is no time frame as long as you are happy, and it's also not set on stone. You can be traveling for 1 year and then stay 6 months in one place, and then you can change again. It's how you feel and how you makes you happy at the end of the day.
That goes on to my next question, because a lot of people have this misconception that if you're a nomad, it means you're constantly traveling. But it's not true, right? Because you move a bit and then you settle down a bit and then you move again, and it could be months, it could be years. Let's carry on to the next question then. What are some of the misconceptions that people have about being a digital nomad? The one that I have, or I had, and I know a lot of people have, is that you need to be young to start becoming a digital nomad. Not at all. Yeah.
Not at all. And also, like, we don't stay by the beach sipping cocktails with our laptop.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my goodness.
not true.
You can't do that. There's no Wi-Fi and there's no electricity.
Exactly.
You're not
So,
even on the screen properly.
yeah. So like, and the sun is shining and heating up your laptop, which is going to like possibly destroy the one main equipment you have to
So
work.
all these stock photos have been lying to us, right?
Okay, we take the photo for 5 minutes, then you see us running back inside to charge our laptops again. For the next 2 hours. So
You
yeah.
just use the hashtag office of the day.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Christoph, do you have a misconception that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I was just thinking about contradicting here a bit because yes, working productively happens most of the time inside. But I remember, for example, at a team meeting. So every Wednesday morning, I meet with my team. We're a little team of 8 people, actually in the health insurance industry, all working remotely. And I was sitting by the beach of Hiiumaa Island in Estonia. So it was not that hot of a sun, but it was a sunny day. And I was sitting by the beach and you need to know in Estonia, that's probably one of the reasons why Nikki is there. Internet access is a basic human right in the constitution.
Yeah.
And so the whole country is covered in 4G, and sitting at the beach without Wi-Fi, but with 4G and enough battery in my computer, was absolutely possible to attend that meeting at the beach. But yeah, actually, it's more an exception. It doesn't happen so often, but it's real. But other than that, yeah, I mean, there are nomads that are traveling all the time and that have goals like I want to have visited all UN member countries by age of 30. I know such a guy, and he's like staying in a country for 3 days and then moving on. Yeah, I'm other. I think just like the others here. I mean, I'm not settling down like Nat and Rob, but I would describe myself as a slow traveler. So I enjoy to go to places for at least a month, up to 2 or 3, to like build a local network, make friends, have my favorite coffee shop. Here I have a rum bar down the street where I made friends with the owner, who is like these typical people that once you know them, everything can get solved. Like yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I was out with a Dutch new nomad. He's in his late 40s. Started with a breakup, had to leave or wanted to leave the country, and now realizes, woo, there's so much possible with working from abroad. And we were talking about like that he has a really good recipe for octopus, and asked me, what do you think, where can we get a fresh octopus? Like, come on, let's have a drink. Let's go to the rum bar and ask Teresa, the owner. And she's like, yeah, I'm opening here very early morning, and before church, all the fishermen come in, and tomorrow morning I will ask one of them for an octopus. Here's my phone number. I'll write you in WhatsApp, and then we get that arranged. And these are the things that are actually, if you're traveling as a tourist, quickly rushing through the countries and take pictures of the sites, you don't get that. But to establish these connections, and I'm still Facebook friend with my barber in Chiang Mai and exchanging experiences every day. No, not every day, but
often enough.
These are the things why I'm traveling. I want to meet these people. I want to build these local connections. Want to really feel what it is like to live in these places, and then have my favorite places to come back to, like Estonia. I'm spending my summers in Estonia every year, but in the meantime, I'm exploring new places.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Is there anything else? Any other misconceptions? Maybe.
I think
problem?
one misconception is you need to work with tech. You need to be, kind of specific words for digital nomads, and not necessarily. You have like such a variety of jobs that you can do online. You don't need to be a programmer or developer, or only know like more on the tech side. Yeah. So kind of the jobs is a misconception.
And I have a friend, he's a nomad, not even a digital nomad. Like he goes around and actually does paintings for hostels, cafes, and offices, and people who kind of like, how do you say, commission him for artworks.
Mm.
So he's actually hasn't been in Europe for 7 years. So he just goes
Mhm.
around traveling, and to get more money to fund his future traveling, he's just been doing like portraits and beautiful murals across like 7 walls, kind of a thing. So there are actually ways that you can try to even just be a nomad and not necessarily digital. Yeah, like you work with the locals to do that. Don't try to take their jobs away, but in that sense, there are people who do that. And a friend of mine just commented to say that people think that digital nomads always have a lot of money. No, we don't. We do have some saved for a rainy day, of course, to go back to our home countries if we really need to, in the case of anything. But we're not always like super rich.
Yeah, but on the
Maybe
other
some
hand,
are.
there's also this misconception that digital nomads, they are like rolling stones. They just move from one place to another, earn enough just to move to the next place, earn enough. But I think, Christoph, you have built a huge business, right? And you are still moving from one place to another.
No, I have a team of 8. That's not a huge business, but
Not huge in numbers, but huge in revenue, I'm sure.
no,
No, okay.
it's a sustainable business, and it allows me some freedoms that I didn't have before. But when I look back into the monthly budgets I had for the first 1-2 years traveling around, I wonder somehow today, how did I even make that with having still a really fun life, going to fun places. I mean, the big advantage of digital nomad lifestyle is the geo arbitrage. You're earning US money, you're earning European money, and spending Thai money, Indonesian money, or other places that have a lower price
That's a
level
very good point.
than the world market where you earn your money from. And so you can have a better life with a lower budget than probably in Singapore easily, or in Germany.
Yeah.
But you're a good example of proof that you can build a business while you are nomading from one country to another, right?
Absolutely. And I can also only confirm what Ned and Rob said about the industries. I'm probably quite exotic in the nomad world. I'm an insurance guy. So it now blends in. So we started the company with children's health insurance in Germany, and that's where I get my that's what pays my bills. But just through that and through with growing into the nomad community with the whole team, we are now developing a new specialized insurance brokerage for global health insurance for location independent people. So this is just coming from one another, leading into new fields of business, and let's see how that goes.
Yeah, and just adding, I think that's one thing that is very important when you decide to become a digital nomad or a nomad. It's like you have to be financially organized.
Yes.
It's like it's not just packing your bags, getting your laptop, and then moving to location and work remotely. Actually, if you want to be successful, doesn't matter your business, doesn't matter your field, you need to be prepared. You need to have a strategy. You need to have some cushions. You need to be financially aware that if you are working as a freelancer, for example, some days it will be raining money, others you're gonna drop. So that's a very important thing. I think a lot of people get very excited about the idea. I'm gonna be a nomadic. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna meet people, see places. But many of them don't think about the financial side. And I think that's a very important thing that people should talk more and think more about it, especially if you have a better experience when you're on the road.
Yeah. And you learn how to look for really good travel deals.
Yes.
And what Chris said about traveling slowly helps a lot with the budget. Because I remember in the first years, kind of we're moving place to place really quick, like almost every week, one place, another place, another place. And in the end, you don't experience that deep the place, and you end up spending a lot more. So after a while, because kind of the way what we do for work, we need to be traveling to produce the content. We found that one of the best ratio for us was like we can travel, let's say, spend 1 month in Vietnam, just traveling, collecting material, doing stuff. But then we need, after maybe 2 or 3 months in one place,
Based.
to work on that previous travel, and then planning the next one. So it was usually we would spend the last 2 years doing like 1 month full traveling and 3 months kind of based in one place. So we could enjoy that place, prepare for the next one, and get work done.
Because of our job, we end up doing 2 styles of traveling, let's say. We do the traveling for ourselves, that we want to be in the place and know and get to know more and more. But sometimes we get assignments. So we go to that city for 3 or 4 days just for a campaign or for an assignment. And then we go back to the place we were before, or we move to a third one. So sometimes we stay in a place because we want to experience more, but then we need to go back and forth to another destination for a campaign. So it's a little bit weird and crazy the way we travel.
Maybe this is a good point for Ned and Rob. Share with us what are you doing, your website, how did that start and evolved when you started your digital nomad lifestyle?
When we decided to be digital nomads, we started kind of doing research on what to do. And one of the things that came to our mind was, travel blogging. Kind of Natalie is a journalist. I work with shipping companies. Nothing to do. I'm really good with geography, so I know all the ports and all the connections. So kind of the logistical side, I'm good. And so we started a travel blog. And we were so naive at the beginning that we just thought like, okay, we take photos of the places, we write a story, hit publish, and people will come.
But money will come, people will come. See? It took us 6 months of like just hitting the wall and realize that we need to study a lot, that we need to find ways to learn about digital marketing, SEO, everything. So I remember, I think after 1 year, actually, that we break through and then we start making money from it. And
just add one thing, similar to what Christoph was mentioning, kind of you meet people on the road and you exchange experience. For us, being based in Chiang Mai in Thailand for 6 months, roughly a bit more, was kind of essential to connect with other digital nomads, to learn a lot. And after that, I decided, but you have, let's say, this road and have another road and have like these ways of making money, this way to do digital marketing and stuff. So being on the road, they taught us how to keep going on the road,
Yes, and also it is a never-ending learning process because it's so dynamic, our industry, and the platforms we use. So it's like evolves all the time, changes all the time. And since we did 1 year of blog, we started making money. Thank God.
I still remember when I saw that we earned 60 cents of one hotel reservation, and we went to a bar and probably drank it 10 times.
Yeah, that is why we call celebration.
Yeah.
And then
that
evolves, and thank God we are on the road, and Love and Road, it's still there, strong.
All right. So before we end the show, I want to ask this question. So let's say I want to start. I decided, okay, I'm going to be a digital nomad next year when the borders open. What should I do now to prepare myself for that time when I leave?
Start a sustainable business. So, I mean, there are many people who come from a job as employees and think like, now I need to have this one big change in my life and start everything new from there, and that will most probably fail. If you take your time, if you develop an income that is, so first your income needs to be location independent, that you as a person can become location independent in the next step. And that's also why it was this kind of, not this point in my life, because my income was always location independent. But taking this as a suggestion for you, and I don't know what else you earn money with, but your publication. So if your bills are being paid by doing like publishing business, at the moment, I don't care where you are sitting. You told me that you're in Singapore, but it wouldn't make a difference if you were at any other place in the world. So if you start building this business, building that income, ideally also building your reach and your community, like better not only one or two clients that you're dependent of, but big outreach, big network. That's the first step. Then you can think of ending your rental contracts, selling your furniture,
Yes.
Yeah.
buying a plane ticket.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Nicole, what advice do you have for someone like me?
I mean, yeah, definitely what Christoph said. You need to, be able to have like location independent income streams and not be reliant on one or two clients, because if one of them were to pull out and they're actually half your monthly revenue, you're going to be screwed. And you don't want to be in an expensive country, for example, and have that happen, and then you're actually screwed. So you want to make sure that you diversify the different things that you have. Research is very important. So make sure, you look at what, not just income streams, but like, where do you think you would actually like to go? And what other like ways of, or the types of accommodation that you can have there? Is there easy transport? What is the food like? Like, for example, if you're allergic to seafood, don't go to somewhere where there's a lot of seafood. That's not the safest place for you. So really train your research skills to look at like what might be possible and just go with an open mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, Rob.
I would add that, like, of course, I really think you have to be prepared financially, like planning your career, or if you're changing careers, or if you're just like going in remotely with that. You have to research about everything, but I think also you need to be with your mind and your heart open.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
You need to step up your door, knowing that the world is there for you to experience, and you need to leave some judgments behind, and you need to be prepared that things gonna go wrong, but sometimes the wrong way is the best way. And that's for me, like, as much as you need to be prepared rationally, I think you also need to be prepared by heart, because sometimes you'll be lonely, sometimes you will meet amazing people. So it's a very interesting and learning process, I think, to become a digital nomad.
Yeah.
It's an adventure. That's how it sounds.
Absolutely.
Okay, so each one of you, please tell everyone out there, how can they reach out to you? Nicole.
So you guys can actually go to about.me/pink, the color pink, and tangent, TANGENT. You'll find all my links there, and I hope to connect with you.
Nice. Christoph.
Just Google for my name. You will probably find my Twitter profile, my company website, or anything. You will find me.
Ned and Rob.
Well, for us, it's Love and Road. So if you search online, loveandroad.com, if you go on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, everything, it's Love and Road. So
Easy.
And if you find us, drop us a message. We are happy to share any information about travel.
Nice.
Yes.
I personally am so glad that I'm connected with you guys. So because when I become a digital nomad, I'm going to reach out to all of you.
Absolutely. Come and find us.
Absolutely. All right, friends. So now you know what it takes to be a digital nomad. You've heard 4 great individuals who have lived a great adventure, romance, and the trouble, the ups and downs. So if you ever want to be a digital nomad, please reach out to them and have a good day ahead. See you. Bye-bye.